Presenting our sponsor, the incredible No Solo brand. Newport founded by John and Sarah Torresenta. Discover No Solo's well-crafted hats, stylish tees, and cozy sweatshirts at their website, nosolobrand.com. That's NOSOLOBRAND.com. We love supporting locally owned businesses here at Totally Preventable, especially those that give back to our community in the way that No Solo does. No Solo proudly supports mental health awareness with a percentage of your purchase going to the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So join the cause, embrace comfort and style, and support a fantastic local business when you buy from No Solo. Visit No Solo's online store at nosolobrand.com. So support No Solo today, where local ownership meets fashion with purpose. Another day,
Another day.
another podcast.
Yeah, who we got today?
Today we have the Moms in Power creator and CEO, Arlyana Bowie.
Oh,
Yeah, this is great because Arlyana was actually one of our empowering moms in our empowering mom discussions that we used to have.
she's a power mom.
She is, yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
So she's going to be talking to us today about maternal health and postpartum,
Yeah. Okay.
and going to have a lot of insight, a lot of information for us, and it'd be great to catch up.
Yeah. All important stuff for our most important people, right?
Put me on the spot there, but I will say yes for my own safety. If I said no, this would be a solely hosted podcast by
Correct.
So without further ado, today joining us on the Totally Preventable podcast, we have Moms in Power creator and CEO Arlyana Bowie. Arlyana, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good.
How are you? Good to see you. Nice to meet
Good
you.
to see you as well. You as well.
To get started, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, yes. So I am Arlyana. I am the CEO, creator, and founder of Moms in Power. I'm a mom myself, a beautiful, awesome cute little toddler. So yes, I actually work in our school systems currently. I have my degree in social work and I'm a licensed therapist and psychologist. But Moms in Power is definitely my baby. It is literally my story that became a business. So, just a little bit about the business. It is a um, it's structured around supporting mothers in their maternal mental health, of course. And we do all of that by journaling. We do all of that by group work and therapy. And then we also do that by support groups outside of that. So that is about Moms in Power and some of the things that I do. Yes.
Right.
I love that you've married your degree with your business. I mean, they go so well together. It's great.
Yes, they do. It did. It came in handy. It did come in. All those student loans paid off. So that works.
Can you share with us why you created Moms in Power?
Absolutely. So, I am a mom that actually got pregnant during the pandemic. So I had a pandemic baby, and she is as spicy as she wants to be. They said the pandemic ones came out a little spicier, and I would have to agree. But also during that time, things were very different. They were very uncertain. They were very scary. Being a single mother, I also came into this, on my own. And then the pressures of the pandemic, we couldn't have anyone at our prenatal appointments. This was my very first kid. So the whole experience was new for me. And then also experiencing it through a pandemic where there were so many limitations really kind of just had me in a hard place. So um, part of my journey was the fact that I was navigating parenting kind of alone in that way. And I didn't want to go outside because we were so uncertain about what the repercussions of the pandemic were going to do. And they were telling you if you were pregnant, stay home, stay guarded, stay with your mask on. So I had the health concerns. And then, like I said, I was navigating pregnancy on my own. I could only go to my prenatal appointments by myself. So my support system, my loved ones weren't technically like allowed to go through the journey with me. Or and if they did, they had to do it from a distance. I do thank God that I was able to have job security because I know that wasn't the case for a lot of people. So I did have income, but the mental and emotional toll that it took was just it was something that I've never experienced before. And like I said, there were so many uncertainties of the world, but then there were so many insecurities I had within myself. Like I said, being a single parent, all of the burden of raising a child, even though she wasn't here yet, was on me. So the financial responsibility, the mental, emotional, part. You didn't have anyone technically near your side. And then I was kind of dealing with my own trauma in that. And then on top of being in the midst of a pandemic, we didn't have access to services. There were wait lists and wait lists just to see a therapist. So even though I knew I was struggling, I did not have access to mental health support. So it was very, very difficult. So the one thing I knew how to do was journal. And I put all of my emotions and I literally mapped them out in my journaling. And Moms Empower was it is a guided journal. So some of the prompts that I use in the physical journal are literally prompts that kind of carried me through my own journey. So when I say it's it's my business, but it was birthed out of my own trauma, out of my own experiences. Um, Moms Empower is so near and dear to me with that because I was a mother with limitations, going through trauma, didn't have access to services. I had an amazing support system, but didn't have access to them. So I had to find a different way to cope. I had to find different resources, and I had to honestly come up with different tools to kind of get through. To me, was one of the lowest points in my life. So um, that is how Moms in Power came to be. And it continues to evolve into the same tools and just helping moms now that we're kind of out of the pandemic, but still seeing the effects of it. But I do get to help mothers that are in the same positions as me or in different realms of their life and motherhood and, support them along their journeys as well.
All right. Now, reflecting on your own journey through motherhood, what were some of the challenges you faced with postpartum depression?
The access to therapy, that was a big one. I didn't have anything that was um, preventable for me, right? I didn't have anything that was proactive to kind of help me through that. So the access to services was a big deal. I waited 9 months to actually be seen by a therapist. That's how long the wait list was for me. So it was quite lengthy just to get professional health. So that was a big deal for me.
We see here there's a lot of gaps in mental health. Did you see any other gaps in your journey of
Um,
pregnancy and
to be quite honest, health-wise, and I don't know if it was just my specific doctor, but not in health-wise, which I was grateful for, but definitely the access to services. And there was a gap at the time, for me, I felt like I needed like a couple of days a week for therapy,
yeah.
and and my therapist could only offer me like biweekly when we first began, just because of her availability. So although there was now services in place, still having access to those services was tough.
Now, as you develop Moms in Power, what were some of the key insights that you gained in some of the unique needs and struggles of mothers grappling with postpartum?
Um, I still say that there's still a stigma around healthy maternal mental health. I think when people hear that you have any type of, or you have a diagnosis, period, because there are so many women, mothers that I come in contact with that may have not had postpartum, but they have anxiety or they have just trauma. They're coming from domestic violence situations and things like that. There's still such a stigma of saying that I'm dealing with something, but I'm still or not being considered a healthy functioning parent. And so many of us are healthy, functioning parents. But I feel like society um, can label us by our trauma, can label us by our diagnosis. So there is a constant need to create these safe spaces to say that, hey, I'm struggling with something, but I'm still the very best parent that I can be. And that is also the goal of Moms in Power, is to break that stigma in society, in our cultures, even, and in smaller groups. I have some married women that say that their partner just didn't know how to deal with them during their postpartum or when they were showing signs. So it's constantly the women that I work with are constantly showing me ways to evolve so we can continue to break that stigma wherever it applies.
So creating a program focused on postpartum depression requires a great understanding of mental health and wellness. How did you ensure that Moms in Power prioritized this well-being and holistic approach?
It was I had to ensure it because I had to I guess you can say get the treatment that I felt like I didn't receive initially.
Mhm.
And I think it was to be the example that I didn't have. You know, I have a therapist now and I absolutely love her. But knowing that moms not only don't have access to it, but some people are still too ashamed or um, too scared to come out and seek that. So making sure that I prioritize mental health, but also ensuring that I allow the women and the mothers that I work with to know that it's okay. Having a mental health diagnosis or not even, I guess you can say calling it mental health, but speaking to their personal struggles is something that I try to embody. I definitely try to make sure that we say it's a safe place. Whenever you hear me speak, I say, "Moms, this is a safe space, and we are free to talk about the good, bad, ugly, and indifferent with no judgment." I thank God that every mom that has been there has respected it and has respected other women wherever they are on their journey, whether they've talked about it a million times or talked about it just once. I try to make sure that mental health is, in fact, normalized when we come together, and there's no judgment or no judgment at all, wherever anyone may fall in their story.
Now, in your experience, what are some of the most common misconceptions surrounding postpartum? What are some of the most foolish things you probably heard about it?
Um, I hear that it has like an end date,
Yeah.
right? That a lot of people say that there's an end date to it. Like, okay, you've been this way for X amount of days, X amount of months. So aren't you feeling better now? And it's 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 really it is. It's insane to hear because I tell people all the time, just as much as your baby's growing, whether you've had one like myself or you have multiple, because you also have mothers that come in that didn't even experience postpartum until like their fourth child, and circumstances are different. So people, people people I think it has an end date, an expiration date. Like, okay, you've been down for this long, but reality is trauma happens, experiences happen, and we all take them in differently. So I think the end date is definitely one of them. And like I said, that stigma that you have to almost be a bad parent. And I'm not saying that postpartum doesn't come with negative side effects, right? Negative behaviors. I won't ever, say that it doesn't affect us negatively. However, we also need that support. We need to know that we have a supportive system. We need to know that there is grace in our journeys. There's grace to make mistakes. And there also needs to be some accountability, not just from our support systems, but ourselves. That, hey, okay, maybe 3 days on the couch is warranted, but on that fourth day you got to get up. So um, I think, like I said, there are outlandish things like I said, you need to be feeling better now. You need to be able to get up now. And we all know that mental health doesn't work that way, and trauma just doesn't go away. However, there should be grace in that time and time to heal, but also time to put in the proper tools and utilize the coping skills, so we can make progress and get better.
Are moms invited that maybe weren't diagnosed with postpartum, but are suffering from other mental illnesses or just need some other mom support?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have moms that come that um I just had one last week, and one of the moms was like, I just needed a break from my husband and my kids, so I'm here. It's we see we see so many different moms that come in my door. So the short answer is yes. We we do. We we support
Sometimes,
everybody.
sometimes you
Yes.
just need a break.
Exactly, exactly,
Mm.
exactly. So, yes, we see we see many different women come through my door for sure. Yes,
So building a company is difficult on its own. And then building a company based on your personal experience has to be a very vulnerable event. Um, can you share sometimes that maybe you really had to dig deep to get through it and, get past your own discomforts to get this done?
absolutely. I think with my own journey, right? And I say I'm 3 years into this, 3 years of being a mom on this side of earth, and then the 9.5 months that she was in my belly. But absolutely, there are times where I have to hold workshops, and I have to be present for my mothers. And my very first workshop that I had was over the summer, and that was just a really bad day. It was, it was a really bad day for me mentally and emotionally. There was a lot going on with my toddler at the time. There was a lot of transitions. Um, and I cried for like 2 hours before I even got in front of these women and had to present the material. And I knew, my curriculum that day. And I got there, and I had made up my face, of course, because you have to look a certain way when you're going in front of these women. And there was two women there that got there at the same time as I did. And they were just like, "We get it, mom. We get it." They helped me set up. And this was my very first workshop, for me. And it was basically, I had planned everything out because I'm like, nothing can go wrong. This is me setting the standard. But I myself just had a really bad day. The mommy toll was a lot. There was some mommy guilt there because I was also knowing that I was going to have to put some of our information, in front of these women, and I had to be vulnerable in that place. So it was hard for me to kind of come to terms with that. Um, and those two women stepped in and they gave me a hug, and they were just like, "We got this. You go take a moment for yourself, and we'll take care of the aesthetics. We'll make sure that everything looks good." And there's moments like that every day when you do this work, right? We are putting ourselves out there, which it can also kind of rehash some of your trauma. It can rehash some of those experiences. There has been no workshop that I haven't cried yet, because things come up. And if I'm not crying for me, I'm crying for some of the other women that I work with. They just share some really heart wrenching, it- situations and experiences. Um, and like I said, in the work that we do, it requires us to be vulnerable. So, um, yes, there are times where you kind of have to pull yourself up in the best way that you can. But the beautiful thing about my work, and the transformative thing, not just for me, but I think for the other moms, is we can have these vulnerable moments with each other, and it's always okay. There's never been a moment where I myself, are having moments, or the women that I work with are having moments, and we never feel like it's not okay to have those moments. So, yes, whether it's me or the other women, I think that is the beautiful part about Moms in Power and the work that I do. It's actually okay to have these kind of ugly, raw moments, and work through them together. So, yes.
Right. Now, reflecting on the impact of Moms Empowered, What are some or what is one of the most rewarding moments that you've experienced while supporting mothers? Could you
I think
spot?
I think I think if I think my workshops are like I said, they're transformative for everyone. There is not to shade any men, but there is something so beautiful when women come together. Their magic happens. And when people ask me about my workshops, I'm like, they're magical because we get to come together and we get to talk about, I mean, the rawest forms of parenting and the rawest forms of our diagnosis and our traumas. And it is so rewarding to see what being open and being vulnerable and the healing that takes place.
Mm,
Um, and then not just the healing, but like the restoration. There's also never a time that I'm sitting with women and I don't come out feeling 10 times more stronger than I was. And it may not be my own strength. It may just be something that a mom said during that workshop. It may be encouraging words. Sometimes it's me just sitting back and seeing them have conversations, uplifting each other. And we have continuous support. So whenever you come to a workshop, we continue to have these conversations in a private group and just to see the relationships that are built and the conversations that people are saying that they were scared to have and because they never had a safe space. There is nothing more empowering to me than women empowering other women, especially when it comes to our diagnosis and our trauma, and there is so much negativity around it. So every single time I'm with another woman, magic happens, and it is it's more than rewarding. It's absolutely awesome. It really is.
Better watch out, Greg. This
that-
afternoon, a lot of woman power. It's kind of tough around here anyway. There's 8 women.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Yep.
we're all pretty strong women too. So
Yes, I'm telling you, magic happens when women get together. The magic happens.
So, how do you take
Mm.
care of you? It's hard having your own business on its own, but having a business that has to do with mental health and struggles, how do you take care of you? That's going to be exhausting.
I'll let you know when I get there. I think this year it has been my goal to find a balance. I get so engulfed in my work, and on top of that, my 9 to 5, I am so engulfed in that work. Being a mom, you are constantly on the go. So I will let you absolutely know when I get there. I don't know how I'm taking care of me. Honestly, I think that that is a struggle, you know? I do have therapy. I tell her I love her every week because she is the only consistent consistent support that I have when it does come to actual self-care. We were actually just talking about this at my workshop as well. Like self-care can't just be, getting your hair done and your nails done. Self-care is soul care. It's really things that make you feel grounded. And that's more than just, binging Netflix, right? Because a lot of us can say, that that binging Netflix, for some of us that is rest, when you're on the go and you kind of just need like a something that has an outlet that has nothing attached to it, that is beautiful. But then like is your soul really at rest? I'm someone that deals with insomnia and me and my therapist are constantly like it's because you can't shut off your mind. So what can you do not just for the self-care but your soul care? Like what is going to put you completely at ease? So it's something that I'm constantly reminding myself to do. Like, how do you take care of yourself? I'm still trying to figure it out. Honestly, I have not found a balance to take care of just the woman that I am. I take care of the mom sometimes. I take care of I never take care of the business owner because I'm always on go, but I am still really trying to find out how to take care of myself. But I do have therapy. Um, and every 6 months I get a pedicure, you know? So every 6 months I take care of myself. But I'm still trying to figure that out. I really honestly I really am. I'm still trying to figure out a balance.
Gotta appreciate the honesty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and you're aware. I think, you know,
Yes.
not
Yes.
like some people
Very aware.
just think like I'm fine. I don't need self-care, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
So looking ahead, what are your hopes, your aspirations for the future of Moms in Power?
Oh man, I feel like I have so many, but I think what would be ideal for me is to open up a brick and mortar. I would love, love, love to see Moms Empower be a therapy hub. So I would love to have individual therapists. The world is forever going to need therapists. So I really would love to have a brick and mortar that houses individual therapists specifically for maternal mental health, um, and also have a space to have my group sessions. So that is the long-term goal, I guess you can say. Hopefully not as long as planning, but that is the long-term goal. But for right now, I just want to continue with my groups. Definitely see them expand. Definitely see them expand outside of Springfield, Mass. I would love to get into a couple more, uh, a little more different regions, different catchment areas. I've been doing a lot of networking around how I can get Moms in Power in different clinics and things like that. So how I can collaborate and partner with other people to do this work. So I would love that's my short term, more collaborations with people that are honestly already doing the work, but have a concentrated area in maternal mental health. Long term goal is to have Moms in Power have its own building where we can do this work all of the time, 24 hours, well, not 24 hours a day. We need balance. We just talked about balance.
and
But we're yes, I was like, have a set stone place and yes, work out of there.
awesome. If there's some moms listening and they
Mm.
would like to know more and figure out how to reach out to you, how would they go about that?
You can reach out to me any type of way. So you can, of course, go to our website at momsempower.com. There are direct links for our support groups, which happen every other month. Or you can email me directly if you would like to host a Moms Empower workshop as well at your location. We are also on all social media platforms. So Facebook, Moms Empower. They have a page as well as Instagram, and we are now on TikTok, which I'm still
Woo!
trying to, you know, try to keep up with the times. So we're now on TikTok, all under Moms Empower. So just search us, and we should be right there.
Right.
Awesome.
Yes.
Hey, Arlyana, thank you very much for joining us today on Totally Preventable. We greatly appreciate everything you're doing. Keep up the
Thank
great work.
you.
It was
Thank
great
you so
meeting.
much.
Thanks for all
Thank
your
you. Thank you for having me.